Okay, so 2024 is going to be a very interesting time for the hobby, and I want to talk about some of the trends that I think we should expect within 2024. Over the last 4 years, we've seen an enormous influx of people and fans enter the Pokemon TCG, and honestly, it's reached its peak levels of 1999, which to many is considered the golden age. I'd argue that during 2020 and 2021, we experienced the second golden age of the hobby, and 2023 was probably the first time we actually saw some dips in singles, which was really surprising because Pokemon cards honestly felt like they were immune to market crashes for such a long time. It was honestly ridiculous how strong the market was. Now guys, for a fun little gift for you guys subscribed today, I wanted to do a little bit of fun trivia about myself and the channel. So for today, I'm giving away an Australian exclusive EB game stamped Umbreon promo. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, you are eligible to win it. But let's see how good your guessing skills are. So the question I have for you all today is, what is my favorite Pokemon? Now, here are the clues. I am not a legendary. I was released before Sword and Shield. I am a final stage evolution. And I have appeared on the channel on only one video as a trading card. Feel free to guess, guys, and please make sure you've liked the video and you're subscribed to be eligible to win. Now, in terms of the 5 trends to watch out for in 2024, here they are. The first trend to watch out for is the dying down of the waifu card hype. Now, waifu is a term for Japanese female trainer cards, and over the last few years, they've experienced a huge surge in popularity. Honestly, it was a bit over the top in my opinion, and I think it got out of hand. The price difference between English versions and Japanese cards sometimes was 4 to 5 times more, depending on the card artwork or the trainer. I mean, just check this card out in 2019, the Vileplume Dream League Fuller. There's no doubt that it's an amazing card, but only in June 2023, it sold for $1,260 US as a PSA 10. And just recently, as of March 2024, the Black Label BGS sold for $683. This is a wild price dip, especially as it's a Black Label as well. And I believe it is very reflective of the overall overblown hype for these Japanese female trainer cards. This is why in so many videos, guys, I talk about purchasing cards you actually love and not just buying them because of the hype. I knew people, right? They were buying waifu cards because they thought they would just explode in value. Man, this is such a silly decision because if you didn't want it in your collection to begin with, or if you wouldn't want to rip open the booster box one day, you're just left with all these products you don't like. Remember, it's still a hobby over an investment. Buy cards you love. No one wants to have cards in their collection they don't like. So as time goes on, I think we will see a steady decline in the interest for these types of cards. Now, the second trend to watch out for is the death of regular ETB investing and moving on to Pokemon Center ETBs. Now, ETB collecting is interesting as a lot of people love to display them. And if I'm being real, ETBs look great to display. The boxes are really sturdy and they contain some extra goodies inside. Now, Scarlet and Violet ETBs are great because they all contain special promo cards inside the ETB, which is great because a lot of the Sword and Shield ETBs didn't have these. So that already makes Gen 9 ETBs far better. However, regular ETB investing is being challenged now with the rise of Pokemon Center ETBs and their unique promos. So Pokemon Center ETBs are slightly bigger and they have the words Pokemon Center on the box. However, occasionally they can look completely different to the regular ETB, like Crown Zenith, which is a completely different design. Now, the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes have more packs inside, and the promo card also has a Pokemon Center stamp on the card, which is a very nice touch and it adds some extra rarity to the regular promos. For this reason, regular Elite Trainer box collecting is kind of dying off because the Pokemon Center ETBs are so much better in nearly every way. The Pokemon Center stamp really makes a big difference for collectors. Now, if you're in the US, the Pokemon Center ETBs can just be purchased directly from Pokemon Center, but outside of the USA, they're actually quite difficult to get and they can be very expensive. And like in Australia, usually the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes are like 3 to 4 times more than the regular ETB, so they're a very hard buy. However, they are superior to the standard Elite Trainer boxes, and more people will get on top of this. Now, the next trend to watch out for is that Sword and Shield sets will see their turning point. 2024 will be the first year we begin to see the positive turning point for some of the Sword and Shield era boxes. Given that the earlier sets in Sword and Shield, like the base set and Darkness Ablaze, are now nearly 4 years old, and the final products like Lost Origin and Silver Tempest are in their second year, they are slowly becoming older. For such a long time, Sword and Shield has been readily available, and the only real difficult box to acquire was Evolving Skies. However, I believe in 2024, we will begin seeing some changes outside of Evolving Skies. Seeing as Scarlet and Violet is now well and truly in the spotlight, Sword and Shield products are going to become more and more scarce. Guys, do not forget the impact of Sword and Shield and how it was considered the golden age for TCG collecting. This was the second golden age. This will be one of the most revered and remembered eras of our time, and it may be a very long time before we see an era so powerful again. Generation 8 was the most impactful for the trading card game since Generation 1. That is not an overstatement. Check this graph out on Google Trends, which is pulling the term Pokemon cards from 2004. Check out how much more interest the Pokemon trading card hobby has had since Generation 8 released. It's honestly been mind-boggling. Currently, out of all the Sword and Shield sets, the only real winner has been Evolving Skies. I mean, you did have Sword and Shield Base and Rebel Clash, but they're kind of not as powerful of a set as Evolving Skies, and they've had small growth. Now, the other sets are going slightly above retail. However, we have a few sets that may have an interesting turning point. Chilling Reign, Brilliant Stars, and Fusion Strike all are fantastic sets, and they have incredible chase cards. Now, some of these have rose a little in value, but others haven't rose that much. Some of them are really still easy to buy. So I think it will be super interesting to see where some of these can go and how far they can climb up. So definitely get ready for the swift changes within the Sword and Shield sets, and I think it will be a very interesting time to see where they will go within 2024. Now, the next trend is that Pokemon will need to become more competitive in the TCG market and expect some changes. So when the trading card game boomed, there were relatively few players in the game. You had Pokemon, you had Magic the Gathering, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And these are kind of considered the big three when it comes to trading card games. However, like all things so popular, other companies decide that they want to get a piece of the pie, and more players are now entering the market. Last year, we had Disney introduce Lorcana, which is a Disney trading card collectible game, which had a pretty strong start right out the gates. And we also had One Piece blaze a new path forward with some of the biggest demand ever seen in trading card history. One Piece is smashing it, and now Bandai have also taken that success formula, and they've now introduced a new Dragon Ball TCG known as Fusion World, which is also proving to be a massive success. You can check out my videos of the 7 reasons you should collect Dragon Ball Fusion World if you're interested in this new booming TCG that has emerged. But like all things, Pokemon now needs to get more competitive to hold their lane, and believe me, they'll have their fears as they've already once lost their crown to Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in 2003. So Pokemon are aware that they need to be dynamic to stay competitive in the market. Expect way more focus on the actual trading card game and the playing of it. We can already see this with the new mobile client that they are making currently. Now, the next one that we got to watch out for is to get ready for a lot of junk slabs to enter the market. So now in 2024, things are calming down, and they're calming down a lot. PSA has changed their website wait times from 120 business days to now being only 45 days. During 2020 and 2021, there were extreme cases of people waiting over a year to receive their grades back. So what happened during this time? Because people were so impatient and hungry to get some slabs in their collection, they just found it quicker to buy already slabbed cards on the market. However, these were very expensive. I mean, so PSA 7s, 8s, and 9s were selling like hotcakes and the prices were inflated. However, this period has now well and truly passed, and the enormous backlog of all the collectors waiting for their grades have been returned. Now, don't forget, we are in a different era right now. Nowadays, when people pull a rare card, it's almost immediately sleeved and placed in a top loader straight out of the pack. People are far more conscious of preserving their cards, so grade scores have also become far higher. So in 2024, I expect to see a lot more junk slabs enter the market. I personally believe PSA 10s for Modern will be the only real valuable slabs, and we'll see a lot of cheap cards be returned and not be able to hold their value. Now, if you do watch my video titled The 7 Pokemon Investing Mistakes You Don't Want to Make, I do cover how much I value modern cards in PSA 10, and I really don't bother with anything lower than 10s. Feel free to check out that topic if that interests you. Now, number 6, guys, is that Pokemon will begin experimenting and innovating. So I did just mention how important it is to stay competitive within the market, but I think some trends that we're going to see in 2024 and beyond is more experimenting with how people view trading cards. I personally believe the link between physical and digital cards will become much smaller, and Pokemon knows how much people love collecting the physical cards, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are now thinking how to digitize the collecting aspect and link it some way with the physical aspect of the cards. Now, this will be much after 2024, but I think we will see this divide between physical and digital become smaller and smaller. Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket looks to be one of the first steps in this direction, but I think this is only the beginning. I also think this kind of experimentation will happen more with the physical cards. I mean, we can see that they're really enjoying releasing the metal cards, as they just released the Golden Metal Mew in the Pokemon 151 Ultra Premium collection. And I think these kind of innovations will be more and more common from 2024 and beyond. I mean, guys, naturally as time goes on, people want new things. They need to be stimulated. I really believe Pokemon is now pushing their limits with the artworks. I mean, most of the illustration rares from Scarlet and Violet are probably some of the best Pokemon card artworks we have ever seen. I mean, while it's amazing to have so many cool artworks, it also kind of makes them lose their special appeal. I mean, in Sword and Shield, when you pulled a full Alt Art V or an Alt Art VMAX, it felt way more special than an illustration rare. However, with these new artworks, the ceiling is being hit, and new ways of collecting cards will need to be introduced to keep it dynamic. So I do think things such as, like metal cards and other innovations will become more commonplace throughout 2024 and especially beyond. Guys, I'd really love to know what trends you expect to come about within 2024 and beyond. I'd love to know your thoughts. As always, guys, feel free to subscribe if you enjoy the topics. I cover videos regarding Pokemon, Dragon Ball, and collectibles in general if those topics interest you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.